Invest in daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. In women, in girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors, and we try to provide resources and funding to entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs that are looking to grow their business or launch a business. And today we have on an amazing entrepreneur. She is looking for funding for her company, which is called NETZRO. They are revolutionary new platform, technology platform that actually helps to recycle food wastes into usable food products. How amazing is that? It'll stop from being so much landfill. I'm telling you, Western women are going to save the planet. I'd like to welcome to the show the founder and CEO of NETZRO, Sue Marshall. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Catherine. It's so exciting to be here on your podcast today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. Live to us from Minneapolis, Minnesota, right?
Yes, big voting day today.
Yes, it is. That aside, I mean, let's get more women in office and let's get more women funded. And there are women out there like you that have these incredible technologies that will literally help save the planet. And we need to get you funded.
Yes, we do. And we definitely need more women in policy. That will help too. Yes.
So you have a WeFunder campaign going on. I take it'll be going on for a little while. And this is a way that is a simple way for both accredited and non-accredited investors to get behind you. And, every week I say, invest in her, every woman needs to get behind another woman. And what a great opportunity to get in the ground floor of your new technology. Let's talk about what that technology does, because it is really fascinating.
Yes, it is. It is. And when people see it, they look at it and go, what? It is big and awesome and like a woman's behind it. So it throws people back a little bit, but hey, like you said, we got to get right to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, women have ideas and inventions and cures that some men don't, so we put the whole population together. And if women are only getting 2% of the funding and men are getting 98%, well, we're certainly going to be lacking on all the innovation and brain power of women like you. So let's talk about what NETZRO is and how it's changing the world in a way that is very significant. And so in layman's terms, you take food waste products and you turn them into usable ingredients. Let's give an example. People throw away every day eggshells. These would end up in landfill if it wasn't for you and your company recycling products like that food waste into usable ingredients, right?
Yes. And let's face it, eggshells, if you think about it, calcium carbonate is most of an eggshell. So 90% is calcium. We need calcium.
Right.
And then 10% of it is that sticky membrane. When you hard boil an egg and you're like, oh my God, what is that stuff? That's actually collagen. That's replicated. Mother Nature smart. That's a placenta. It does the same thing as a human placenta. So what is that? Regenerative. It gives life. It's protein. And we throw that away too. Like when I thought about it and I looked at it and I was like, how much? And so much. An egg breaking facility can have tons a day. And there are lots of those doing that every day. And chickens keep laying eggs, right?
Right. And, here's a perfect example. And I heard you on a podcast yesterday, by the way, and I found it just fascinating, and to let our listeners know, you have a big facility that you've built in Minneapolis. This is no small thing. This is a huge manufacturing location there that can be replicated anywhere in the world, which is very exciting. And we're going to talk about you licensing this software around the world. But you all were talking about how taking those eggshells and, like you said, the calcium, the collagen that's healthy for us, and repurposing that instead of into landfill, repurposing, recycling that into usable food ingredients. And the person that you were talking to at the time said he had a pancake mix that they sell, and they use these recycled, I think you called it upcycled ingredients into the pancake mix. And this is just one of the people you're partnering with. You're partnering with many food products, right? But tell me about how that works, how he's using that in the pancake mix.
So if you can imagine an eggshell all crumpled up, right? And it goes through our process and it tumbles and it comes out and it separates. The way the engineer and the infrared heating technique works, it separates that membrane from the shell. And then you have two products. And then from there, it can be milled into powder. So you would have powdered calcium or powdered collagen. And then folks like, I think you were talking about Field Theory Foods, they would take one or both of those ingredients and put them in their pancake mix. So then you'd have pancake mix that has calcium. You know, we're used to having those additives in food, so it's not completely crazy, but we're not used to using stuff that would have otherwise been thrown away. The majority of the calcium in our milks or any other products is mined from China. Mining is fracking. We know what happens, right? When we do those things to our resources. So now here we have plentiful of eggshells just laying typically in the landfill or just land applied, like we throw them out the back door. And why would we need to get anything from China from a mine?
Right. So what you're saying is, I think people would be envisioning, oh, you're throwing eggshells into my pancakes. No, that's not what's happening. You're taking it
That
and
would be awfully crunchy, Catherine.
a little crunchy, but they actually mill it into a powder that is a protein. So those pancakes that we're talking about now have more protein, less carbs. Hello, who doesn't want that? And apparently they taste great. So why don't we want healthier food? And why wouldn't we want to upcycle these product wastes that would be going into landfill and ruining our environment? So, I mean, what you're doing is incredible. How the world did you think of this?
Okay, you want to hear the real story?
I do.
Okay, so when I went back to grad school, I didn't get to finish grad school in normal time frame because I raised two gorgeous, beautiful, smart children. But there was a time they said, Mom, you kind of should go back to go do that. So I did. And I went back with the intention of starting another company coming out. And I saw this technology being used on cow manure.
Yeah.
It was being used to take it and make it into cow bedding. And I thought, well, that's fascinating. Why couldn't you put food in there, right? Well, yeah, you're not going to use the same equipment that you do that and then also do eggshells to put in your food. Clearly, that's not exactly what happened, but the concept made sense to me. My mind worked like that. And I said, okay, so I'll have to make it food grade. I'll have to put it in food manufacturing and beverage manufacturing. So it can't quite be like what they're using with the cow manure, but that's what really started it. And then I was fortunate to have a group of students at the university that was assigned to the project. And then I got my first round of funding out of there.
That's great. So what you're saying, and I'm trying to put this in lay terms, is you're saying if we could turn cow manure into fertilizer, why couldn't we take food waste and turn it into something usable that we would be able to eat, that would be clean and safe and actually healthy? So that's really interesting. And then what are some of the other products other than eggshells that
Oh, I have some real fun ones.
okay,
So,
cool.
spent grain is common. So, if you're a home brewer, you might take your grain that you're done using after you make your beer. What it does is it takes the sugar out. That's what makes the beer or spirits, vodka, whiskey. Any of those grains going into those products are stripped of sugar. But what's left is this beautiful grain. So home brewers are used to using that. They'll dry it out on a cookie sheet and they'll make bread or mill it down, grind it down and make bread. So that's pretty common. But to do it in scale by hundreds of pounds an hour is what's been lacking. So there's been lacking technology to take these things and scale. So if you can imagine your favorite brewery having thousands of pounds a week of this beautiful grain, it can be corn, rye, barley, wheats. Those things are Some are used for feed, but the bulk of it, when we did our research, is ending up in a landfill. And that's just not right because, again, back to your point, protein, fiber, and the sugars are out. So that is stuff that could be incorporated into any baking mix, any food product that would typically use grains, but high protein, high fiber, no sugar.
Wow, that is fascinating. So when you're drinking a beer, you're
Mhm.
thinking it did create some waste that could
Mhm.
be reused by the process that you've created. And this can be licensed and utilized anywhere in the world, which is very exciting. So you're doing it in Minneapolis. This is where it's all starting. You have a big manufacturing plant, so you can do it in the volume that you're talking about that makes economic sense. But this could be done in other locations in other countries, right? Using your
Yes. Yes.
technology?
I mean,
Yeah.
guess what? There are chickens everywhere. There is beer and spirits everywhere. People like to drink beer. You are right. They like to have their beer. Now they can eat it too. That's what I say. And places around the country, they're not as used to just putting tons of something out the back door in a landfill. In fact, some countries don't even have landfills. So what we're finding is so much interest. Once we came out this year and said, okay, we're ready to license our technology, we got calls all over the world, Catherine, and their reasons for doing it is because they're in need of good food for more people in a better way. And we are too in the United States. So obviously there's lots of action going around here too, but we just have a different mindset on the need and the urgency of it.
I mean, what's so incredible? Okay, you have this WeFunder campaign. Anybody can go to WeFunder, go in and search NETZRO and be part of this revolutionary uh, invention,
Yeah.
software. And how exciting is that? I always say it's so exciting to be in the investment world because you get to hear about all the innovations before anybody else, and you get to invest in them. And that's incredible. Anybody who wouldn't want to go on there today and invest in you, I think the minimum is 250, right? $250.
$250.
And you could be part of this revolutionary new thing. Like that's your mitzvah for the day to go in and make this uh, bid, this investment in this company, and know that you're helping save the planet. I mean, really, how better else could we invest our money than helping to save the planet? So what you're doing is so incredible. And what I love that you just said is it not only helps the environment, but it helps feed more people. And don't we need that with healthy food? Let's put an exclamation point on that. Um, so how does this young girl from Minneapolis decide to start this huge manufacturing plant? Like, was it daunting? Like, I mean, I'm always impressed with people who come up with these revolutionary ideas and then actually see it through. I mean, kudos to you. So your first step was getting this grant with the university, and
Yeah.
and then what?
Building in a tremendous team. So, I'm grateful and humbled, Catherine. Like I have so much help through the University of Minnesota and various, organizations that are connected there for all kinds of food science and technology. That one of my co-founders is an amazing physicist, and his engineering mind is what, got us here with our patents. And we've had so many people be excited on the mission. We are a social benefit corporation, back to what you said about feeding more people better while helping the planet. That is our mission. So I knew that right away we were going to be a social benefit corporation. Now that path has been a little challenging because people don't understand, what that means. Does that mean you make money? Yes, it means I make money, but it means that, as a group and as an organization, we also look at all these other factors that are extremely important right now, have been for a long time, but right now, clearly, all of us are starting to realize how important people and the planet are.
Yeah, I think more and more people want to invest in and give business to socially conscious businesses. And yeah, nothing wrong with making money. That makes you sustainable. That makes perfect sense. And so you were born and raised in Minneapolis, yes?
Yes, I was, and I'm
Yeah.
proud to be from Minnesota. and my roots are agriculture. That's what we do here. So I grew up, my father was the first of his family to go into the city. So I grew up around farms, my grandparents, my aunt and uncles. And so, I do understand farming, but, I always was thinking, how can I help the farmers? I'm a city girl, grew up in the city, but I wanted that. So I've gotten my dream. I get to talk with farmers, I get to talk with food producers, and, that's where I feel most comfortable.
That's incredible. And how did you get the manufacturing plant? Did you go knock on their door and say, I want to build this thing that's going to help change the world? I mean, how did that go?
There was incremental steps to transformational change. By the way, that comes from my daughter. She's brilliant. So every time I go, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? This seems so audacious. It's incremental steps to transformational change. And that's what I did. I mean, you have to really look at it that way. Otherwise, it's way too overwhelming. But along the way, I've had people, let us co-locate with them while we were doing proof of concept of the various versions of our technology. It was just recently that we moved into our own space, and now it's going to be our showroom. So in fact, we have our first international visitors coming next week from Africa.
Wow.
And so people can come and see it. As you said, really, hands-on. How does this work? How does the data and the software control this equipment? Because it's important. Being safe is important. Having that be human grade is in itself a challenge. And so all that is monitored with our data and our platform to make sure it's doing its thing the right way, because we don't want to hurt anybody. This is food. And then they can come and see, what is it like to have one of these?
And you have an amazing video too. Where can people learn about NETZRO? Let's first give them the website.
Yes, NET, so netzro.us, not .com, .us, netzro.us. And when you go on WeFunder, it's NETZRO SBC. So that's Social Benefit Corporation. So NETZRO.
Love it. And are you also on social media? Can we follow you?
Oh, yes. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of it. I have a great team. And what's fun about what we do is people love to follow all the new products that our partners are coming out with. And so when you go on our social media, you can see pancake mix, nuts, seasonings. It's really endless to what all the food products we eat today that can all have upcycled ingredients. And by the way, this isn't just a movement, this is an industry. We even have a trade association now called the Upcycled Food Association.org, upcycledfoods.org. So you can find out, we have certification on back of pack next to non-GMO and organic. You'll see a UP with a green leaf. That means that product contains upcycled ingredients. So you can, as a consumer, you can go to the store and you can find yourself products that have upcycled ingredients.
I love that. And so if we have a listener who's producing some food products, they could also reach out to you about using your upcycled ingredients so that they perfect what it is that they're doing to help the planet and can let then consumers know that they participate in that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Does this mean that you're reaching out to large companies like, I don't know, Pillsbury or, other food organizations? I'm just curious.
So we have to be patient, right? Because the larger the company, the slower to move. But the truth is, and this is what's beautiful, is young people that work for those organizations are coming in droves, and then they're the ones that are pushing the innovation with food products. So I am sending out samples every day to universities and other businesses that want to play in their lab with these ingredients, and that's how it starts. So we are all about supporting people to innovate and to make products with these ingredients. But there are a lot of, small and medium-sized companies, and this is what happens when you have innovation. It gives them a leg up to move fast because they can move faster than a large company. So you're seeing a lot going on. If you type in upcycled foods, you'll see a whole bunch of newer, innovative companies coming out with products that are amazing.
I love that. Well, I hope we've really opened people's minds and eyes today to this new innovation, that they'll start buying upcycled products, that they will invest in NETZRO. What an opportunity to get on the ground floor of something so revolutionary. And I do envision at some point that these bigger companies are going to need to have these upcycled products in their food, because I think, like you said, the younger people are going to insist on it. And thank goodness for the young people. They are really such an incredible generation coming up that's really helping to save the planet by insisting that we do these environmental things. So
They
grateful.
are insisting with their pocketbook, and you're right.
Yes.
That's the way change happens. So we can power the Earth's food forward altogether. We can do it.
We can do it. I love it. Sue, netzro.us, amazing. So happy to have you on and let people know about it. What an opportunity to invest in your company at WeFunder. And of course, we'll be following you on the social media. Of course, follow us as well, Catherine Gray at Invest in Her, and also She Angel Invest, She Angel Investors also. So just make it a great week, everybody. We're happy you tuned in. Remember to invest in her and make it a great week. Thanks, Sue.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.